Climate goals. Can I give you a big warm welcome to Fernando?
Hello everyone, my name is Fernando and I'm creating the platform for Canada, what we're demanding for our government to do, and I'm creating a global platform for people for the 150,000 students in Australia, Belgian strikers, for us to all have something to join us in common. The first knowledge standing on closer, straight, like that. Okay, good posture. So first I want to acknowledge that we're standing on stolen land, and as an immigrant I always feel very grateful to have the opportunity to live here, to play here, to learn here. And I'm going to start by telling you a little bit of how I got here. So I remember people say, thank you. Good, good. Oh, fantastic. So, wireless, good. So people talk about the oceans rising. My first experience with climate change was actually shit rising. I remember I was in Chicago one day. My dad is a pilot, we were flying, and I grew up in Mexico City, and we got a call from my mom saying that my room was flooded with dark water, with black water, because climate change had made the floods in the monsoons in Mexico City so bad that it had burst a pipe right above my room, and my whole room, my bed and everything was floating in some things that I really don't want to see. And so when I talk about the shit hitting the fan, it didn't reach the fan, but the shit got to my room. And it wasn't the only time that happened. That happened in my other house when I moved, and it happened twice. Now, there's nothing sadder for a 12-year-old kid than seeing your Wii having tiny pieces of human pieces inside of it and not being able to play it anymore. So I know it's gross. We never played it again. Everything went out. We lost our house. We lost money. My dad got a divorce. It teared our family apart. When I talk about climate change being something that is personal, I see it like that. But I also have a dad who's a pilot, and I understand what it feels like to have someone relying on fossil fuels for a living. The house in which I live in, the roof over my head, the education that I get depends on someone flying a plane and burning huge amounts of fossil fuels to get it. So I understand why it is important that we create a just transition, that we never leave anyone behind, that we ensure that we look at the mirror and that we see ourselves and we know that every single person that walks past us, regardless of whether they're in a suit and work in a bank, whether they're young people, whether they're old people, whether they believe or they don't believe in climate change, that what we fight is for all of us. Because all of us live together in the planet. And in that spirit, a year ago, I met with a guy named Suteska, who's a magnificent rapper in the United States who's suing his government on climate change. I don't think anyone has met a cooler dude than him. He has long hair and he raps about climate change and he's suing his government on climate change, and it's fantastic. So I met him and I was like, whoa, I want to be like you. And so I joined his organization and I started creating a global platform of demands and saying these are the things that we need our governments around the world to do to solve the climate crisis. And we started talking about indigenous rights, about implementing UNDRIP. We started talking about environmental rights, because I don't know if you all know that you don't have environmental rights. There's no right recognized by the Canadian government to have a safe and livable environment. And we're one of the only countries, developed countries, that don't have that. Even Brazil has that. And Brazil is not as developed as we are. And we have so many other countries that are in lower levels of development that give that right to its citizens. And my question is, why not us? Do we not deserve to live in a livable environment? Do we not deserve to live in a clean future? Then we also talk about lowering emissions. Canada is responsible for a lot of warming. We put 15.4 tons of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere every year, every single one of us.
Shame!
And that is shameful, exactly. At the same time, we have our mining companies extracting coal and minerals from places like my home in Mexico. Indigenous rights, but indigenous rights there. So ask everyone to see our responsibility as a country, our responsibility as Canada. What do we owe to the world? And to say we need to go further. Canada needs to lower its emissions by 65% or more by 2030 to do its part to solve the climate crisis. We need to have a just transition, and we need to have it now. And it all starts by knowing why we're here, why we care. We cannot go to people who deny climate change or don't want to act and tell them the numbers. The numbers are already there. We just show them why they care, why their children will be impacted, why we want their future, why we do this out of love. And that is something that we always need to do. This is a movement out of hope and out of urgency, but it always needs to remain positive. And you need to take a look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am doing this for me, I am doing this for us, I'm doing this for generations to come. Because I believe this world is worth fighting for, and I believe I am and you are all worth fighting for. So thank you very much.